want to welcome you to Might As Well Talk About It. This is like a talk therapy, and this is another platform for the many of you out there who are just like me, who are afraid of it and just don't know what to do. You've been holding it inside because you don't want to talk to people about it. You can't just walk up to people or even family or friends and just say, hey, I'm scared to die. What you think I should do? Sometimes it's just hard to have those kind of discussions with people because you don't know what they're going to think of you. When you're able to communicate and be in the presence of others who are going through the same thing that you are, it does make things just a little bit more comfortable, and that's what this is for. I'm sure that plenty of people have forums, sites that they go on, different communities where they can communicate and talk, and this is just another way. I wanted to be able to do this because I wanted to be able to show my face. I wanted to be able to place the face of a female who's going through anxiety and who has the fear, going through struggles, and have a journey that I'm trying to, get through and get to that other side. And I want people to see this broadcast and be comfortable with wanting to interact. I would journal just to kind of keep a note of the things I was thinking, my thought process, how I was feeling, the actual symptoms and everything I was going through. I kept a note of it so that way I can kind of look back and say, okay, good. I don't have to, be so terrified today or so worried, because I do remember, in this note here on this journal date that, okay, I did feel this way. So and the journaling has helped me. I can't say that much of it. I mean, not all the time, but sometimes I can look back and it kind of eases me and makes me feel a little bit better. I want to share with you my journal so you can see what I've been going through, because I want you to know, like, this is real. I'm not making this up. I want to be real and raw and radical about what I am going through, because I'm sure there are others out there that are just like me. So hopefully I can open up this whole world of us to communicate and grow closer, become family, via social media or through this platform. And I want to definitely give words of encouragement, words of wisdom. They're coming from what I feel God has impressed upon me to give or to say. One of my very first journals that I kept when I was, going through my anxiety, and let me just say, I went through anxiety. When it started for me, it got bad for me back in about 2016. Now, I had my very first panic attack in 2015, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I don't know what was going on, but I was asleep, and what I thought was something bit me. So I jumped up out of my sleep, and from there, that's when it started. I felt this adrenaline rush come up my body, and when I felt that, that's what felt unfamiliar to me, and that's what woke me up, and I kind of like just jumped up, and from there, that's when that happened, and that's when the palpitation came, or that's when my heart started beating fast. I got up out the bed, I ran into the bathroom to go look at myself to see what was happening. I started feeling a little bit like dizzy. I started feeling like that fear, that doom and gloom, and all I know is I was almost getting ready to run out the door, like how Craig did, how Smokey did on Friday, when that joker felt like he got what somebody gave him, something he wasn't supposed to have, and that joker was running down the street naked. That's how I almost was like that. But I caught myself. I kind of stood outside, tried to catch my breath, but I saw that wasn't working for me. I just felt like bewildered. I felt afraid. I just thought I was about to die. And so I called the ambulance. They came. Because I was so scared and afraid, I thought I was dying. Of course, even though they said it sounded like it was a panic attack, I was like, okay, no, take me to the hospital because I want to know what's going on with me. As soon as I got there, them jokers barely even assessed me or did anything. Didn't even do any blood work. First thing, oh yeah, she had a panic attack. I was like, well, dog, y'all ain't going, so you're not going to even make me feel like, check deeper into what's going on. But no, it didn't go like that. But anyway, fast forward, after that was my very first panic attack in 2015. And then 2016 was when the anxiety actually started manifesting into like symptoms and other things that was going on with me that I did not know what was going on. I didn't understand it. So I was bewildered. I was really trying to figure it out and worried, and just constantly the worry really started hitting. And I went to took my very first trip to the urgent care, because at that time I would feel this overwhelming fear of nervousness every day. And I was working, and I was just like, why do I feel like this? Why do I feel nervous? There's nothing going on. And at that time, I can recall that I was, doing some things with my business that I wanted to jump off, and, was still back and forth in and out of school because I was kind of paying out my pocket at the time. And so I was going through a lot, which to me, it didn't seem like it because I'm just used to it. I'm the type of person that, You know, if I have a goal and it's something I want to do, I'm going to go for it. I don't care. You know, I don't mind. I'm not a stranger to hard work. I'm not a stranger to the blood, sweat, and tears of, you know, hustling and getting it to get whatever it is that you want. So I don't know, maybe that along with what may have happened in my past just all kind of finally came to bite me in my behind. But it did. I wasn't even eating like I would usually eat. And I was like, well, darn, this ain't me. Because, man, I got an appetite on me. You know, why am I not eating even at work? I didn't have no appetite to want to eat. So when I went to the urgent care, got the blood work did, and they called me back for my results like about 3 or 4 days later. So when they called me back, the blood work results were fine. They mentioned something about my kidneys. You know, saying that my kidney function seemed to be a little bit abnormal or on the abnormal side. What we're going to do is we'll bring you back in about 2 months and check it again to just see if maybe it was just a fluctuation or something like that. But let me tell you something. The moment that doctor mentioned, or your kidney functions is abnormal, all rationality went out of my head. It's like it flew like a cork blew, and I wasn't trying to rationalize. I immediately was afraid. I was thinking, oh gosh, what's happening to me? And then the first thing came to my mind was when they mentioned kidneys, I thought about my grandmother, because she had kidney issues for a very long time, and she ended up passing away after a long fight with, you know, her kidneys and all of that stuff. So it's just all of those things, a lot of ideas, all kind of worries just came through, rushing through my head and through my mind. That's what kind of kick-started the anxiety to turn into what it did, which was manifesting into all kind of symptoms. Immediately, I became afraid to sleep. The insomnia kicked in. I was not sleeping because I was afraid, thinking if I go to sleep that I wasn't going to wake up. And that's where it started. And that I remember that date like it was yesterday, which was June 14th of 2016 was when everything really started for me. I went on the internet searching up all kind of what symptoms and what's going on with me. And then I ended up running across this community called Health Unblocked. And I found this forum with people that was dealing with anxiety and panic attacks. And so the moment I found that forum and I started reading people's posts, you know, I began to look at it and say, okay, this is possibly what I'm going through. So it gave me a little comfort to read and finally see like people were posting some of the same things and the same stuff that I was going through. So that particular day was that day that I also had begun to journal. So here we go. Let me go ahead and get started. It says day one, it was August 17th, 2016. It says, today is actually not my first day going through what I am about to note. Today is merely the day I began writing about it. This morning, I woke up feeling nervous and scared. When I get these feelings, I worry more because I am still unsure if this is associated with what they say is an anxiety disorder. Last night, I still did not have the best of sleep. I tossed and turned. I had racing thoughts again, and I was worried. I kept trying to talk myself through it, and it somewhat helped. I even had a moment again of trying to relax my mind to fall asleep, and yet again I would be awakened from my nap or sleep with a rush or wave of adrenaline, and then my heart would begin to race. So as I mentioned, because I've been through this more than enough, I was basically coaching myself to calm down, saying to myself, you're going to be fine. This is the same symptoms you go through all the time when you are awakened by this anxiety. However, what still keeps me worried is just hoping that is all that it is and not something else. It's like the signs before having a heart attack or congestive heart failure or anything else. My symptoms are nervousness in my chest area, feeling of heart stopping and or pounding heart. These are the main symptoms. I experience these once nightfall hits. Y'all excuse me, because when I was writing these journals, I was writing so sloppy because I was scared and just writing. This is like a nervous handwriting. So now, after almost close to 3 years, I'm trying to go back and read my terrible handwriting. But anyway, I experience once nightfall hits. Every time I go to bed and try to go to sleep, this is my cycle. Some nights are better than others where I can manage to relax my mind enough to go back to sleep, and other nights it just keeps me up and I'm tossing and turning. As far as I'm sure of, I have not had a good night's rest in about 2 weeks. Only a few nights of those few weeks, I may have gotten a feasible 4 or 5 hours total of sleep. Right now, I am stressed about that. I feel weak at times, like I have no energy to want to do anything, but I force myself. My biggest struggle is my appetite. I have somewhat gained a better appetite over the past few weeks, but it is still not back to normal. It has caused me to drop a tremendous amount of weight in such a short time. That's what I am now more stressed over. I'm also worried about my sleeping habits. I cry a lot, especially when I'm in my zone of thinking and worrying. I've been to the clinics more times than normal because I am so stuck on hoping I am not sick with something else, or afraid that it is some other illness I may be going through, but I don't know it. This also stresses me more. A lot of times I feel detached from myself. I feel like I'm slowed down mentally and weak mentally. People I have discussed my situation with says that it comes from my appetite situation, plus not getting any sleep. For the most part, I hope this is the cause, because I prefer that over finding out it was something else major. Oh yeah, those doctor visits and getting blood drawn enough all came back normal except the kidney function, which I have retested and it is or has moved in a more positive direction. But why do I continue to feel like something is wrong, or I am still ill from something? I'm continuing to race through my mind. It's continuing to race through my mind. Sometimes I can't even focus to want to do anything. I usually do, or I used to happily, be energetic and ambitious. I get dry mouth very often. I don't know if this is associated with anxiety, or if I'm dehydrated, or if it could come from something else. The reason I'm afraid to sleep at night, or even at daytime when I try to get a nap, is because I'm afraid I won't wake up, or that I'll have a heart attack or brain aneurysm or congestive heart failure and die. While I've realized these are all negative and terrible thoughts that come from my own mind, this is how my mind is constantly racing. Oh yeah, I am afraid of death. So this is also a reason I can't get any sleep. It seems like soon as nightfall hits, I am being held captive in my thoughts of not having a panic attack, dying, or something happening to my heart, and what is wrong with me. These are the thoughts that race through my mind as soon as nightfall hits. I mean, it's like my mind is conditioned when night comes that I start to get down and sad, especially when it's bedtime. So to conclude this part of my journal for this morning, the therapist says I have generalized anxiety disorder, mild depression, and I will definitely add that I am stressed. My question that I continually ask myself: can this cause me to be feeling the way that I feel? Can this cause me to lose weight like I am? Can this cause me to physically feel just so different than I used to feel when I had a relatively normal life? Or is it really something wrong that the doctors didn't know or discover yet? Oh yeah, and it's like everyone else around me, or that I see, seems to be so happy and living normal, and I wish to be back to normal. And one more thing, I have also noticed the mild headaches, which been started, but it's not severe to where I can't sleep, and also they occur in different areas of my head, and also in the back of my head, like towards my neck part. There is also times I feel numbness, tingling in my legs, as if when I try to get up to walk, I may fall or stumble. It is how I feel what will happen, and I even get mild burning sensations in my thigh area. Y'all, first of all, let me just say this. This was supposed to have been a journal, and usually when people journal, I guess it's supposed to just be a short note about something. Baby, this became novel time for me because, for one, I love to write. So I don't know if that had a whole lot to do with it, but it's just all the things that were on my mind. So thanks for sitting through my very first journal that I wanted to share with you all. Hopefully even just that journal was something that many of you all can relate to when it comes to the anxiety or the fears, and what kind of thoughts race through your mind and why it's racing through your mind. So now on to the fun part for me, which is the topic question of today, which I feel is a very good topic that I wanted to bring up because a few events happened over the past month that I decided I want to go with this topic question first. Why is it that if something else happens to somebody else, if something else happens to another person, whether they died or, came down with a very ill disease that, maybe they've been given a death sentence or whatever, and we hear about it, we automatically allow that to make us feel like it's going to happen to us, or the same thing is going to happen to us. And I do that all the time. And actually it has gotten worse over, the past 3 years, because like I said, the past 3 years, my anxiety has gotten to that point. Compel me to bring that question up first was because one incident, I'll go ahead and say, really struck me. A relative, her very good friend of over 10 or 15 years, she just recently passed away from breast cancer. What scared me most was because, at first, when we first heard the news about her having, cancer or whatever, and I didn't know which cancer it was, but I just heard it was cancer. It seemed like everything was kind of coming along okay, because I guess finally after she had begun to get the treatment and stuff, or beginning the treatment, it seemed like, it's kind of coming along. I do know that anything like that, is a long process. It's not just going to turn right away overnight. And, immediately I went to go on the internet to find out about, try to dig more about breast cancer. I want to know what happened or why it happened, so that way maybe I can try to prevent it from happening to me. And like I said, if that seems selfish, I swear from the bottom of my heart, it's not because I am a selfish person or I don't care about what others are going through. But I guess because for me, if I don't want it to happen to me, it's like now I want to know everything. I want to know every detail. Why in our minds, when it comes to finding out about someone else dying and what they died from, first thing we want to do is try to pick it apart of what happened, and just that whole negative thing of trying to find out why. If we're afraid of it, then as soon as we hear about somebody dying, then we want to know more or want to figure out why. That's one of the biggest things that I realized that I've been doing lately in the past 3 years. Like I said, I hear about somebody else passing, then here I am, I'm scared as hell because I feel like it's going to probably happen to me. And now I'm, thinking all kind of things, getting worried again. My anxiety is back skyrocketing through the roof. And half the time I don't even have to know the person that passed away. It could just be somebody I heard of. And if I hear it, then I'm automatically putting their fate on me. About 2 or 3 years ago, a very close person in our family, not a blood relative, but somebody that you might as well can say was a relative, very young girl, 18 years old, 19, just had a baby, and son wasn't even 1 year old. She passed away in her home, in her bed with her son there. Well, what we ended up finding out later what it was she had acute bronchial pneumonia. But when I heard that, I was devastated. Like my heart dropped. Just even the idea of finding out that she passed away in her bed and her kid was there, it freaked me out, because it was like, oh gosh, then it had me scared to like think, okay, I don't want to go to sleep now, because what if that happens to me and then I don't wake up? So it was like every little thing something I found out about somebody else, it just had me worrying and wondering and thinking it was going to happen to me. I couldn't sleep again. It was like my anxiety was through the roof. And like I said, I know that is the main thing that's lingering on or causing my anxiety to linger on is because of my fear of death. And like I said, once I hear about somebody else passing or somebody else dying for whatever reason, my anxiety is up to here, because now I'm worried and I'm thinking the same thing is going to happen to me. And I'm going to tell you, I had to end up deactivating my social media on my Facebook, because it seemed like every time I would go on social media, go on the internet, I'm always seeing something that's bad news that's going to keep me worried. So I had to literally deactivate Facebook, the main one, because that was the one that every time I'm scrolling on Facebook, I'm seeing bad news about somebody dying or whatever. And here I am just drawn to wanting to know why. So it intensified me being a tunnel vision, trying to figure out why. And that's my issue with my anxiety. It's like I want to try to always figure things out, or I just want control of my situation so bad. And when I just feel or realize that I can't control it, I don't know what to do. Why do we allow others' fate to predetermine ours? So I would like to share a particular post pertaining to the topic question, and it came from off of Health Unblocked. And so what this person posted was, what I really hate about myself right now is how when I hear about someone's passing away who is around my age, I feel sadness, and I feel sadness about them and their family and friends. But within 10 minutes, I'm feeling anxious about my own health and wondering how they could have died and if I might have whatever they had. I hate how selfish anxiety makes me. And along with that, I hate the guilt, because I shouldn't be thinking about myself at such a time. This is the only place I felt felt to be able to say this. I'm sorry, big hugs. It's a tough situation when it happens, but I do want to explain for those out there who may not be suffering from anxiety or may not have a fear of death. I want you to understand, like, this is our frame of mind and this is what we're thinking when we're going through this, because it's like we just want to have some type of reassurance or anything that possibly can help us from it happening to us, if that would make sense. It says, appreciate the time you have with someone. Don't take a day for granted. Worrying about something none of us can change is wasted time. Live every moment and you will find even the littlest things are a part of the best moments of your life. Death is the great equalizer. It doesn't care if you were good or bad, young or old. We have to face that nirvana when the time comes. When you're in that fear, and when it's something that has already kind of taken over you and you're trying to dig out from that abyss of being afraid of it, sometimes it's hard to see it that way. Not that you don't see it that way, but it's just hard to accept it. As I share with you in closing, Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Y'all, I was so oblivious. I was a person that did not pay attention to a lot of things. I saw this prayer a lot. A lot of people would say it. A lot of people would read it. I've heard many people talk about it, but I never took the time to even want to understand it or figure out why this prayer is so important. But now I do. Now I understand it, and it's very short, but it is something that is strong and that I can appreciate it. So I want to say thank you all for tuning in with me. I hope to see you all on my next broadcast. We're going to do this again. I have another awesome topic that's going to be up and ready for you. Subscribe right now. Hit that button. That way, as soon as a new video pops up, you'll get notified immediately about what I have. I want to thank you all for sticking with me through this broadcast. Please feel free to comment. I am Ebony J, and I will see you all next time.